Hello, Mata Bhante ji. Your introduction, please.
I am Sasanidipika Khanti Khema, and the people call me Mata Bhante ji here in India. And the whole involvement with Buddha Bhoomi in Mumbai area, it fascinates me. It fascinates me because of so many aspects.
Loudly.
What Bhante Gautam Ratna Tera has actually done, has committed himself to building a place on 29.5 acres that is not only a Buddhist structure, but has very varied purposes of building a monastery school and building training for monks, training for nuns, training for young men and women to understand what the Buddha actually did and to understand the most important part, the value of it in how it can help you in your life. And this is what will promote Buddhism to continue through this century. A lot of us wonder what is going to happen to Buddhism in the 21st century. We don't know. All kinds of things are happening in the world, but for Buddhists all over the world, what is actually going to happen? And the thing is that is most pressing about Buddhism is, can we get people to understand how useful it is in their life, how it can really help them? Buddha Bhoomi Foundation has taken upon itself the framing of this 29 acres, and some of the things that are happening here are just extraordinary. In other words, how do you get enough money to have landfill, and how do you fill a property to raise it up to the level where you want to do your building? And when you look out here, you see what's happening is we have an answer for solid waste management here, but we don't have a problem of methane happening because in India, with solid waste management being dropped on the ground, a lot of times there's animals that there's pigs and there's goats and there's dogs and cats and everybody eating what's left in the solid waste management. And a lot of the problem with the climate and with that sort of thing not being in the solid waste management is you can take it along with soil and along with rocks, and you can bring it and use it in a landfill. So one of the things that's happening here is raising up the property to a higher level, and then when you look down from that level, what do you look down upon? And that's pretty fascinating because you have this wonderful thing, I think you can get it in the camera if you know, this wonderful plantation that's all around you, and it's all growing food. And so the outline of the property has Buddhist statues that are surrounding the outline of the border of the property. And then throughout the property, you have all this raising of food which is happening. There's a lot of planned buildings and projects within the framework of the architectural drawing. Now, one of the things we need to have happen is we need to have people understand the potential of this, because this property, once you get it, so that we can put a meditation center down in this corner, we can put a school over here for children in another area, we can put a clinic over here, we can set up a hospice over here. We have lots of space, but at the same time, we can continue to grow all this wonderful food on the property, and we can end up having a real Mahavihara for India that sits here right in Mumbai. And this building down here, the temple that we're in right now, may end up being a temporary structure, or it may be converted into a fully decorated interior structure. It right now serves the purpose as the primary temple, and it houses the samaneras, and it serves as a counseling center, all in one building. But what people don't seem to understand is that this place is large enough to begin to have the organizational potential for a really super Indian style of Buddhist center, where you can have support group for women, and upasakas can come together, and these upasakas can talk together about what they think should be built first and who wants to put their name on what, and start building these buildings on this property. It's fantastic. And then this structure right here, this structure, if you want to see, is being built for the purpose of a 7-foot Buddha. It's 12 feet? 12 feet Buddha on top, and then this is going to be like a shrine where we can come, and you can't really appreciate what you're seeing now because the stone hasn't been finished on the outside yet, but the stonework here is utterly fantastic. I mean, you're looking at all shades of marble here, and all the different types of really beautiful, expensive marble that is being put in the portico that goes around here, the circle that we walk around the shrine. And you have this wonderful road system that will be in here, a road coming directly to this as the central point in this property, and then roads that will go out to the various buildings on the edge. And what's surrounding us is really not bad. It's really not bad at all. You have an older housing development that's behind the temple that will be taken down. You have the railroad that goes by, but not terribly noisy at all. And then you have buildings that are newer that surround us, that are coming up with, being built up around us. And the potential here is just incredible. I think the one thing that has to happen for Buddha Bhoomi Foundation to be getting more of an understanding of how this can happen very quickly and be useful to everybody around, the road being finished, and the entrance being finished, and the buildings being finished, is to rethink a website that can help people have the real story of this place, and to see how people can leave their legacy by helping the development of this place, because really the area doesn't have a Mahavihara the way there is in, for instance, in Malaysia or some of the larger temple structures with all these organizations I'm talking about, like in Sri Lanka, or I'm sure Thailand. I know the women work very hard together there too. But all of this can happen, and it can happen rather quickly if people understood the potential of the place. But I don't think that enough of the story is out. And that's what we need to work on now. So if there's anybody listening, you know, we need people who can help us to look seriously at a better structure for a website, to get a website up, and we have some ideas of the material we want to put on it, okay? But we also need people who can help us with translation work from the universities, who would be willing to donate some of their time to translate some of the development and Sunday school material, because one of the situations right now is all of Maharashtra is not got a unified type of Sunday school material. And we want to help to develop that. That's what I'd really like to be working on this summer mostly, is developing that and helping to put it together and then get it published and have it available for free to as many locations as possible, so that the group is unified in a way that makes the whole foundation of the people that Dr. Ambekar put together more organized as far as the teaching of the Buddha. Because that's the secret. Because the teaching of the Buddha is a living, breathing teaching that can affect all the parts of your life, even when you're sick, even when you're dying, even when you're being born. It can help everybody in the family, and all the structure can be supported if we can go back to that teaching directly in the text. So that's what I want to do. And I hope you'll come and see us, talk to us about it, get a look at the property, meet with Bhante, and maybe talk to him some evening when it cools down a little bit. Come over and take a look at the size of the property, and I think you'll just be in awe at the potential of this project.
Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.